We are live. Okay, hello guys. Welcome back to Staying Connected. Um, Obviously it's a Friday, so today we have somebody from an organization with us, and I am joined here today with Martin. So, hello Martin, you alright?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Thanks for
Generally, yeah, you're most welcome, mate. It's all good. Generally on a Friday, we usually have the guests like introduce themselves and just tell us just briefly like who you are and what you do, mate. If that's all right.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Martin Walker. I'm director of a publishing company called Resolution Media and Publishing. Um, so we publish the We a Business magazine. But we also started out as publishers of the successful Tees Business magazine based in Middlesbrough. It covers the Tees Valley area. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. I mean, we can talk more later about the publications.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that seems like it's like a fair bit then, really, isn't it? And I think that's pretty cool. I got Dan was telling me that your preferred name's Mant. Is that right? Is that is that should I call you Mant or Martin? Which one's better for you?
Martin will do, yeah,
Martin will
yeah.
do it. Okay, sweet. All right, cool, man. Awesome. Yeah. So obviously, I know that you have known Dan for quite a while, right? And so I believe that dates back to kind of working in Sunderland. Do you mind like talking a little bit about that, like just how you got started in that and what you were doing?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So going back, I trained as a journalist and trained with the Teesside Gazette, and then I joined Middlesbrough Football Club's media team in 2000, and I worked with a lady called Louise Wanless who joined Sunderland Football Club in I think around about 2004 ish, and in 2005, she I joined her at Sunderland. So I was in the media team there from 2005 to 2009. I met a really talented, inspirational filmmaker during my time. I also met Dan Machiavelli. Um,
Right. Yeah. Class.
yeah, it was interesting times. 2005 to 2009. So when I joined, Bob Murray was still the chairman. Mick McCarthy was the manager. We had a promotion to the Premier League, which didn't last very long, unfortunately. Came back down, but then obviously that was the Niall Quinn era. And he came in and obviously brought Roy Keane in and uh, won instant promotion. And it was, yeah, good times. Yeah, it was great fun.
That sounds like good fun. And so what kind of stuff did you do there? What like kind of role were you in there mainly?
But, yeah, so I was the media officer. So my role basically it covered a few different things. It was essentially liaison between the media and um, the club, mainly the playing side of the club. So that was dealing with player interviews, manager interviews,
Oh wow.
dealing with the media after games, sort of doing post match interviews. Um, so that was my main role. But I also sort of did a few bits and pieces for the website. We were quite a close knit team. So the website team we worked fairly closely with them. Dan Machiavelli was obviously in the website team. We worked with a guy called Nick Alexander, one of our good friends, who's since left and now lives in Canada.
Right.
Um,
Well.
yeah, he emigrated. But so yeah, that was pretty much my role. And it was good fun. It's
It's totally fine, man. Don't worry about it.
it was yeah, it was good fun. It was a great club to be around, and even during the difficult times, during relegations, it was always a good place to be.
Yeah. What I mean like what's it like being in a football club like during relegation? I mean, that must be kind of crazy, right? Like, because like as if you're like a fan of football, you can see that, and then obviously it hurts them. But like to actually work somewhere and then for your club to get relegated, because that must like affect like so many different areas of the club. Like I can't even imagine. So
Yeah, it could be frustrating because it's quite a unique industry in that where you could you could work really hard, perform well, and it's something that's completely out of your hands.
yeah,
The team's performance
yeah,
on the pitch affects everything. So you're having a bad time, it affects us. We struggle to get players to do interviews, for example.
yeah,
Um, right, and the content that you're writing for the website, it's negative, and trying to put a positive spin on things, and it can be could be difficult. Obviously, the having a bit of a hard time with it now, but as our Middlesbrough as well. So it's
Yeah, true.
not a great team, not a great time to be a Sunderland or Middlesbrough fan at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, like different thing altogether, but like the Newcastle club takeover didn't go through, so I guess that kind of hit them a bit as well. So it's all
Mm.
around, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's kind of cool because I've actually never thought about it from that aspect. Like actually, like how because like as you were saying, the website could be great. You could be pulling out like great content, but then if you like, the team's not performing well, it's like it's something that's out of your hands, right? So it's like it's really interesting to think about it from that kind of perspective. I think definitely.
Yeah, yeah. It was funny because we used to get a bonus if we promoted to the Premier League.
Right. Yeah.
And also, you would get a bonus at the end of the season if we stayed in the Premier League. Um, and the irony of that is, it's clearly not based on your performance,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point,
it's
actually.
based on the player's performance, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, you're kind of rooting for them like to the next level, really. It's like.
yeah, yeah. I quickly became a Sunderland fan. But
There you go. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I can imagine, man. So that's cool. So then, obviously, you were working at there for a while. You saying then, how about after Sunderland? Like, what did you kind of transition into then? Or
yeah, so I left in 2009, and that's what prompted me to start my own business. So I started really working as a sort of freelance, and I was doing a bit of work for Darlington Football Club.
all right, cool.
So I was doing a little bit of PR for a couple of businesses, um, and then I got some regular work with Darlington when Raj Singh had actually taken over the club there. Um, so he'd appointed a guy called Graham Fordy, who I knew from my Middlesbrough days, and he got me in there. So I was doing all of the media work for Darlington. And
Wow.
then after the first year, I was doing a bit more. So I started doing the website and the program. So it became pretty much like a full time role.
Yeah,
And
cool.
obviously, Darlington went into administration. But um, after I think it was 2.5 years or something like that. So this would have been talking sort of like 2011, 2012 ish, and so then it sort of prompted me to look at other things,
Yeah.
and I thought it was maybe time not to sort of step out of football and look at other things. So I was actually at a business based on Aycliffe Business Park in Newton Aycliffe, and I had an idea to launch a magazine, like a business magazine for Aycliffe Business Park. So that was launched in 2012,
Wow.
at the end of 2012. Um, and it was good. It was okay. I mean, it was a really small publication to start with. I think it was 16 pages. It was nothing much more than a sort of what looked like a company brochure type thing. But it sort of gradually grew, and then it sort of got up to sort of 30 odd pages. And after a while, I thought I could take the idea of the magazine to other areas. So I spoke to a guy called Dave Allen, who's now my business partner, and put the idea to him for well, I was actually Middlesbrough Business Magazine.
Wow.
So Dave was running his own PR agency at that time. So as the discussion sort of progressed, we expanded it to cover sort of the whole Tees Valley area. So this was so it launched just over 5 years ago, and it really took off. So it's well, I think we started with it was like 36, 40 pages, something like that, with the first issue. So it's a quarterly publication,
Right.
and we're now printing over 100 pages per issue.
Wow.
Um,
That's a lot of
so
content, man.
yeah, yeah. So the model is it's funded by not just advertisers. It's a free publication, and we circulate it free. So there's 6,000 copies of Tees Business that go right across the Tees Valley area. So that's Middlesbrough, Stockton, Redcar and Cleveland, Hartlepool, Darlington.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, so it's funded by advertising, but also sponsored content, so advertorial features.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
That makes sense.
so yeah, and so we're quite strong online as well. So we have a sort of an accompanying website, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So yeah, it really sort of went from there, and then a couple of years ago, we actually launched our first awards event,
Wow,
and it was for a Business Women Awards event. So it was the Tees Business Women Awards.
that's so cool.
Yeah, so we had that went well, and we had I think 280 people at Wynyard Hall, the
Right.
first event, and then last year, 2019, we had the second Tees Business Women Awards, and we had 450 people there at Wynyard, all
That's a
in the
lot,
Grand
man. Yeah.
Grand Marquee. So that gave us another idea. So we launched the Tees Tech Awards off the back of that. So
Fantastic.
it's sort of a niche awards event for like a specific sector. So the Tees Tech Awards is for the tech and digital sector.
Sure thing, yeah.
So we announced that so I think it was like the back end of last year, and it was planned for April. But obviously COVID hit, and we had to postpone it. So so
Unfortunately.
it's actually taking place in a couple of weeks, 20th of August.
Nice.
It's virtual, so it's going to be we're going to be doing it from a studio, and we're going to get the shortlisted people sort of dialed in via Zoom like we are doing now.
Ah.
The sponsors, and then the winners will be revealed and that type of thing. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be beamed live on YouTube from 7 o'clock on the 20th of August.
Okay.
So look out for that.
Yeah. So yeah, Martin. So if people are wanting to kind of watch that, how would they get to that? Like, is there any kind of is it on your web? You're saying it's going to be on YouTube. Is there like should they refer to your Facebook to kind of look out for that or?
Find us on there. Just search T's business. So we'll be promoting the YouTube link for that over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we're promoting it really quite heavily in the sort of days leading up to it. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, and it'll be nerve wracking because obviously it'll be we want to make sure it goes smoothly.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's been interesting. But it's thankfully we've got like 12 sponsors, well 12 actually 15 sponsors, 12 main sponsors like headline sponsors, and then 10 other category sponsors. And they've all paid a lot of money to be involved. And it was on the pretense of it being a black tie dinner, 3-course meal, that type of thing. So, but they've all supported us and stuck with us, which has been great. So we're actually sending pizzas to everybody.
Nice.
We're sending Domino's pizzas. So we've got a deal with Domino's, and there's
Fantastic, man.
a local franchise of Domino's that was one of our clients, and we've done a deal with them. We're going to send pizzas to just over 100 people.
Wow. It's a lot of pizzas.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. So that's going to be a challenge for them.
I was going to say it's a busy night for them.
Yeah. Our events manager's she's got a busy couple of weeks because Julie, so she's going to be she's currently taking orders, the pizza orders.
Yeah, nice.
For over 100 people, so that's a unique challenge in itself.
That it is actually, yeah.
And we've got obviously we've still got welcome drinks and table wine, so we're sending little mini bottles of prosecco.
That's awesome.
Little mini bottles of wine to all the sponsors, guests, and everything. So
nice.
And we'll still have we'll have a program on the night and in print. We'll be promoting that online. So it'll be good. We've done a company called Wonder Films based in Middlesbrough. We've been working with them on the shortlist videos.
Right. Yeah.
So they've been filming over the last few weeks, and they've got I think they're close to completing them. So they're going to be sort of streamed as part of the presentation on the night. Cool. So it's like interviews with all of the shortlisted candidates.
Brilliant.
So it's exciting. It's going to be, I don't think we certainly wouldn't have considered doing this pre-COVID. It would have just been a normal event.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, we'd still have a normal event, but we just can't do it for obvious reasons. But who knows in the future? It might be, even when we do get back to some sort of normality, we might be. It might be the new, the Tech Awards.
Yeah. I mean, how fitting is that though? That the fact that it's the Tech Awards and it's done digitally. I mean, it kind of makes sense in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. We actually said that at the time when we spoke to sponsors. If you're going to do this with any type of awards, the Tech Awards is perfect for it.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So we're working with an agency to help us deliver that because it's obviously quite a technical production to do on the night. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So we'll look forward to seeing how it evolves, and like I said, we might end up doing that. For the 2021 Tech Awards, it might be virtual. I think,
Yeah, there you go.
or maybe a hybrid. I think we want to get back to getting into rooms and
For sure.
the black tie, making it a formal
Yeah, yeah,
dinner and
yeah.
a formal presentation. But who knows? We might also stream it live, or
Yeah, yeah,
going.
exactly. Because that's a good point as well, and I think that obviously there's obviously some negatives with not being able to get it in person, but then I agree you got to look at the positives, and I think another one as well is just the fact that like there's people who wouldn't have been able to make it otherwise that are now going to be able to attend because they can just do it from their home. So I
Yeah,
think
that
there's
was one of our selling points to our sponsors, actually, because we said, with a normal dinner, we'd hope to have sort of around about 400 people in the room. Um, but we'll probably get more like 4,000 views of the show, because
exactly, man.
we've got a lot of followers on social media. We do our the sort of online chats that we do already. They reach thousands of people. We get we
Yeah,
get average between 10 and 20,000 views on Facebook.
there you go. Yeah,
So we've got thousands of followers on Twitter. LinkedIn, a couple of thousand on Facebook, and we've got a Facebook page that reaches over 100,000 a month.
nice. Yeah,
Um, Twitter account reaches, I think it's 125 impressions. I think it is a month.
awesome, man.
And LinkedIn is really strong. Got over 4,000 people on there as well. So it's so we should.
Yeah,
So what I'm saying is the sponsors will actually get more visibility from this than they would a normal event.
exactly. And you got to think as well, like all of the organizations that are attending, they're going to be plugging it as well because they're going to say like, listen, we're on this, we're shortlisted. So then it's going to be spread to all those people as well. So there's also that
Yeah,
aspect,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
which is I think that's really cool. So yeah, man, I think that's going to be awesome. So I've got up here a picture of T's business, but I was looking through some of the pictures that you sent over, and if we
Hmm.
just go the first one here, we've got Cliff business, and that was the
Yeah,
magazine that you said you set up first. Is that right?
it
Um,
is. Yeah.
so I just want to ask
So,
like. What kind of obviously you said once you'd kind of finished with Sunderland you had that idea, was there any kind of major inspiration for it, and what was like the first steps in setting it up, because it's always like
hmm.
getting started, it's always like it's one of the hardest parts obviously. So how what kind of inspired you to do that, and then how did you do
Yeah, quite easy, that one. So at the
it?
time, I was doing a bit of work with the local MP at the time. So it was Labour MP called Phil Wilson.
Wow.
So he succeeded Tony Blair as the Sedgefield MP.
All right, okay,
Um,
cool.
and I was doing a bit of work for him, and a bit of website work, and a bit of PR for him. And he asked me to go to a press conference in Aycliffe, and it was just before the Hitachi train factory was built. So it was like long before it was built. It was just like a press conference on the land where it was going to be built, and I just couldn't believe how much media were there,
Right, yeah.
and TV crews from all over the world. I mean, it was such a huge story. I was blown away by that, and I sort of realised then that even though at that time Aycliffe Business Park was quite a substantial business park, I thought, well, with Hitachi coming along, it's going to be sort of a
For
big
sure.
headline, sort of marquee business for the park, and could see the business park growing. So that sort of sowed the seed for me for the business magazine. Um, took took a while to get it going, obviously, and
Yeah,
when you when you're trying to sell advertising for something, and you haven't got something to show them, people
yeah,
say,
that's
"Oh,
the thing, right?
what's it going to look like?" It's quite difficult, which we've found with other publications since then. But yeah, so we launched that. It was like November 2012. So yeah, that was the idea, the inspiration behind Aycliffe Business.
That's awesome. And then the next one, if I'm right, was T's business. Is that right? Is that the one that came after? And then
Yeah,
I've got a couple of pictures of that as well. And how was that? I know you said that you met up with your partner, and then you guys kind of decided like Teesside would be a good kind of area to move into. Is that right?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it was originally my original idea was borough business,
Yeah.
and then as we discussed it, sort of over a number of weeks, the sort of whole idea evolved. Um, and then when we were thinking about name to cover the whole of the Tees Valley area, and then when we were thinking about a name, it's a tricky one because Tees Valley has a bit of an identity issue. So some people call it Teesside, some people call it the Tees Valley,
Right.
and we've obviously got the Tees Valley Combined Authority. So we sort of went in the middle. So we just went with Tees Business.
Yeah.
So it kind of covers both.
It's a good point.
Um,
Yeah.
it doesn't upset anybody. So yeah, yes, like I said, it's launched with 36 pages, and I mean, I think one issue pre-COVID, our issue, I think, was 124 pages,
Wow.
and most of it, most of the content is actually sponsored,
That's awesome.
and it's driven by sponsored content, obviously, as well as like traditional advertising as well. And we always had plans to sort of look at other areas. So we have looked at various other areas in the sort of north, mainly the northeast, really. And then we got talking to a couple of guys that I know from my previous roles. A guy called Graham Anderson, who runs his own PR agency based
Yeah.
in Sunderland. He used to cover Sunderland for the Sunderland Echo, and started his PR company, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. And I was also talking to a guy called Colin Young, who's based in Durham. And he's, again, football link, so he's former Daily Mail correspondent for the North East.
Oh, wow.
And we got talking with them about a magazine for the Sunderland stroke Durham Weir sort of region. So we eventually went with Weir Business, so it was like sort of similar to Tees Business, sort of like focusing on the river.
For sure.
So Weir Business, we published the first issue at the end of last year, so it was like December 2019, and we officially launched it at Ramside Hall in January.
Nice.
We had about 50 people there, and it was great. And we had a great response to the first issue. I think the first issue, was 50 from memory, 52 pages. We had John Hayes on the front cover, so it was like he was obviously the talk of the region at the time.
I've literally got it up right now. Yeah,
Right.
and we're looking at them making haze with the headline, and it's
That's
nice.
right.
Yeah. It's
We I actually knew John from, again, Sunderland days,
really.
because John was he was a shareholder in the Drummondville Consortium, now Queen's Consortium.
Oh wow! Right. Yeah.
I know him from back then. Obviously, Graham knows him, so Graham did the feature with him. So yeah, we launched it in January, and we had a great response. And we just started looking at the second issue, which was, I think, was going to be due out in April. And obviously, everything changed.
Yeah.
So we had to just sort of shelve the magazine for a while we focused on strengthening our sort of digital presence. So we increased content online. We started doing a weekly web chat, which is on our Facebook page, which is usually have 2 or 3 people on there. So we've been doing that now for about, I think, maybe 6 or 8 weeks.
Brilliant.
They're getting like sort of like 4 to 8,000 views on our Facebook page, which is great. So it's really just sort of trying to sort of like make sure that we're still in people's minds, and we're still here.
Definitely.
And then eventually sort of like getting back to trying to sort of launch a printed the second issue of the printed Weir Business.
For sure, yeah.
And we're close to that now, so we're actually working on the second issue at the moment.
Oh, fantastic.
So we've got a feature with Paul Callahan, who's a well-known Sunderland-based businessman.
Right, yeah.
So he's featured on the front cover, exclusive interview with Paul. And we've got a feature with Dan McAvelli as well from Slavia.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah. So that's Graham's done a nice piece with him. We've got some nice pictures of Dan.
Cracking.
So that's going to be, we're working on that, and should be out in a couple of weeks, so it'll be online.
Awesome.
And the print issue will be circulated from around about 2 weeks time. So yeah, as well as those features, we'll have lots of news in there. And we've got a double page spread on the developments in Sunderland as well.
Nice.
and the Riverside development there. We have a double page feature on the Roco Hotel and the Tavistock Group.
Awesome.
We're doing some features around the digital stuff that we've been doing as well, sort of a bit of a roundup on that. We're going to do a double page spread on the hospitality sector as well.
Cracking, yeah. So
Uh,
how many pages are you thinking for the second?
so it'll be 52 pages.
52, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So and we've got some great support from the likes of Sunderland Council,
Brilliant.
Business Durham, Ramside Hall,
Yeah.
so and the Roco Hotel. Great annual savings as well. We're doing a feature on Durham Works.
Right, yeah.
On the Durham, Business Durham, I think I mentioned them. So double page feature on Dan McAvelli, Savvy Media.
Nice. So yeah, we're gonna have to check out that one then for sure. Definitely, I'm looking forward to reading
Yeah,
that because I haven't obviously seen that. Well, it's not out obviously, but yeah, I can't wait to have a read of that. That'd be awesome. I think. I'm just gonna check up with the chat a bit, Mark, because I think we might have a couple of questions in here. So I'll have a
yeah,
little look. I'm sure we've got a few. Dan said something quite interesting before that I noticed. He was saying that let's have a quick look. Sorry, he was saying that he said that he used to get your wrist slapped at Sunderland for subscriptions going down, but they would correlate with the results, not the content. So it was very frustrating. He said so. Can't imagine that.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
we've got a one from Sue, one of our learners here. She says it's good when you start off small, but you can see businesses grow in such a relatively short time, especially local based companies. So that's obviously awesome.
You?
Yeah, and she says she's a great believer in local people supporting local businesses. So yeah, so she says she likes to support them as much as she can.
Yeah.
And then one of our learners said she did an NCTJ journalism training back in the day
So,
in
yeah, that's what
Darlington.
I did.
That's
I did
cracking.
the NCTJ. Yeah.
Wow, and she was saying that Lynn's saying that she worked for 20 odd years in regional and national newspapers.
Great.
And she was actually asked. Yeah, she said ask if Martin had done any NCTJ stuff, and then there you go. You just obviously mentioned that there as
I
well.
did, yeah. I did a BTEC Media Studies course followed by the NCTJ course.
Brilliant.
Yeah, T-line shorthand. So yeah, it was good grounding. And then went from that to, as a trainee with the Teesside Gazette.
Wow.
I only spent a couple of just under 3 years as a reporter before I moved into sort of like media and PR with Middlesbrough Football Club.
Wow.
Now, my role at Middlesbrough was still as a journalist. Really, it was a publications role, so I used to work on the match day program, club magazines, stuff like that. Loved it because Borough was my sort of team. So I went from being a season ticket holder, watching the game on a Saturday, to working for the club, which was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving to Sunderland was a big move because it was being a Borough fan.
Yeah, rival club, right? Yeah.
It was strange, but quickly, you know, it's great work. It was good fun working in football. So it was, and you do become a fan. You know, it's your club. You're working for them.
Yeah.
It's obviously better when you're winning. So yeah, became and the only difficult time was when obviously Sunderland played Middlesbrough. So
oh man, I can't even imagine like that
yeah,
one.
yeah, there was and during that time Sunderland had a decent record against Borough as well. Won a couple of times at the Riverside, which was difficult for me. But so yeah, it was weird.
Surreal event. I mean, yeah, like I remember when Borough were like a decent side in the Premier League. Like they always had like a kind of mid table team for a good while. Like so,
Time ago,
but
yeah, it was finished seventh in the Premier League one year, and
wow,
it was Steve under Steve McLaren,
I remember, yeah,
and I can remember Borough fans complaining about the football, but it's like I think Sunderland under Peter Yates, had a couple of great seasons in the Premier League.
yeah,
Finished, I think seventh a couple of years. And I think I seem to recall like some fans still not being happy then. When Newcastle finishing fourth in the
under
Premier League,
Sabab.
weren't happy.
Yeah, when we're playing for Champions League and stuff, I remember that. I remember watching that on the TV, getting into like the second group stage of the Champions League, I think, and just being yeah. I remember when Kieran Dyer let that goal in when he went to like flick back with the back of his heel and it came off from a corner and it was just like, oh my goodness, it's crazy. But yeah, I remember that Newcastle being in the Champions League. That seems.
What the fans would give for that now, eh?
I know. It seems
Top half
surreal.
Premier League.
Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah. Yes. So what I want to ask there, which you mentioned, which I thought was quite interesting, because Sue, one of our learners, she was asking, can members of the public get the mag? So I was just wondering, what's the situation with the distribution? Like, where do you guys kind of distribute it and stuff like that?
Yeah, is she asking about Weir business specifically?
I would imagine so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
imagine so. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So with Weir business, we usually print 5,000 copies, and they cover. We deliver them to. So we mail out about 300. I think it's about 200 copies to some businesses, and we hand deliver the bulk copies.
Brilliant.
So they got the sort of business areas really specifically across like the Sunderland areas, Sunderland, Washington, Porton-le-Spring, Durham, Seaham, Peterlee areas. Um, yeah, so the magazines actually go online as well. So on our website, there's a section on there where the full magazine is actually available online. I know that most people still like we prefer having the printed magazine in the hand to read. You can read it at your sort of leisure with a coffee or whatever. But, so yeah, I mean, if she wants to wants to get in touch, and we can add it to our mailing list, so she can get one delivered to her.
Sure thing, yeah. And so how we can get that in case anybody wants it. But Dan's just linked the first issue in the chat there as well, so that is there if anyone wants to watch that, guys. But if someone did want to get in touch, what would be the best way? Would it be on messaging on Facebook, or would it be?
Yeah, just the email info@weir.business. Just say that just ask to be added to our mailing list, and we can do that, no problem.
Brilliant. Is that .co.uk? Is it?
No, it's just it's info@weir.business.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, brilliant. Info@weir.business. There you go. And yeah, we've got a couple of people here talking about T-Line, and someone was saying she thinks she was saying that 100 was a 100 WPM. Not sure what that means. That's just jargon to me, but saying that,
words per minute.
Oh, words, of course, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, talking about shorthand there. I had some friends when I was at uni who did journalism, and like they were telling me about shorthand, and it just seems so crazy to me. I mean,
it looks like almost like a Chinese language or something.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, but we understand it, so
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So we got Mel in the chat there says, Daniel, ask Martin if he still hugs Christmas trees. So don't know about that. So yeah, that was from Mel. Yes. So
there's a story behind that.
Alright, okie dokie. Let's have a look. Okay. All right, mate. So here, I have a picture of the wrestler, the classic wrestler, Gorilla Monsoon, and I think Dan said that this was someone that you used to look up to. I believe. I'm not sure if anything needs to be said on that. Or...
Yeah, he was my hero. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, cool. Awesome. And it's a good picture as well. It's a
He's stitching me up with that, by the way.
Pose. He stitched you out, didn't he? That's fair enough, mate. But yeah, that's all cool. So yeah, I wanted to ask it as well, mate. Yeah, we're just been talking a little bit there about the website. So I'm guessing you have a couple of different websites. Is that right? And am I right in thinking that?
Well, so specifically for Weir business, it's just weir.business. So we update it regularly with news. So any businesses out there got any news, send it to us. Info@weir.business.
Brilliant.
Always looking for news, press releases, things like that. So we update it pretty much daily with sort of any news that we have. And our sort of general rule is to sort of publish positive news.
Brilliant.
We tend not to focus on the negative news. So I mean that isn't sort of like just rose tinted spectacles type of approach. We thought, well, there's plenty of negative news out there.
It's a good point, mate. Yeah.
So our role really is to promote all the good news, because businesses actually struggle to get media coverage with positive news, because it tends to be bad news is sort of good news for the media. So that's our role. So and it fits quite nicely. That so we've got a sort of a hashtag, a slogan for our tea business magazine, which is talking up Teesside.
Right.
So that's our sort of our role really, to talk up the region, and similarly with Weir business, that's our role to talk up Wearside, the Sunderland and the Durham regions, because we saw a little bit of a gap in that sort of in that area really. There are regional business publications, some very good ones as well, but they cover the whole of the sort of northeast region, and there was we thought there was nothing really for the Sunderland area. Bit of a poor relation in terms of like the northeast, in terms of business coverage. So that was the reason behind sort of covering that area.
So,
and sorry, go on.
No, I think that's really, really cool. And it's good that you've kind of got them separate like that. We're on the homepage here of Weir Business, and I think that the web address is really cool. I've never seen a web address like that before. Weir.business.
We didn't know that they existed until we started looking into it, and we thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, Weir.business.
It's really, really cool. It looks like quite like it's pretty sleek. And yeah, it's really cool, and I like the kind of format here. And yeah, it's as you were saying as well. It's obviously business news, but it's all kind of like positive stuff. And I think that looks really, really cool.
Yeah. So we as well as the news that we carry from sort of like press releases and news that businesses send us. We also so the magazine goes online as like a page flicker, so the full magazine will go online. But also the content from the magazines will populate the website with the content from the magazine as well. So the features that we do, the interviews and stuff, they're all available to read as web pages, as well as it being on in the actual full magazine as well. So it works quite well and gives us plenty of content to push out on social media. And
yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well, and kind of being able to kind of have two separate sources to put that. I think that's absolutely awesome there. And so someone in the chat was just saying there that they were saying Lynn was was saying that give my regards to Graham Anderson, and she was saying it's a friend from many years ago. So I just wanted to kind of pass that.
What's Lynn's surname?
Lynn Johnson.
Lynn Johnson.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And she just said. Yeah, and she said
Graham spent quite a lot of years at the Sunderland Echo.
Right.
And he was quite well known as like the Sunderland reporter for the Echo at the time.
So right, that makes a lot of sense then, yeah. Okie dokie, cool. So yeah, we've had a little look at the Weir business website there, and then you also got the Tees business website, which we're just having a little look at here as well.
Yeah.
And they're pretty. That looks pretty cool as well. I think that they're both pretty sleek. It's good that they've kind of got like. It's quite interesting because they've got like very like similar. Like they're obviously different enough, but they've got similar branding that you can see. It's both part like it falls under the same umbrella. Like you can tell it's the same organization overall, which I think is pretty cool. Like you've got the blue kind of title bars and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah, we did actually agonize over that, and we thought, do we make it look completely different?
Yeah.
Or do we sort of like try to make it look a bit similar, because it's because the tea, we knew that the tea's business brand and the sort of model works. So we thought, let's just try and pretty much replicate that model for the Weir area, really. So that's why we sort of like stuck to something quite similar.
It definitely, it makes a lot of sense to me, I think. And kind of, I want to ask as well, like, obviously you were mentioning about the like the magazine versus online, and how is there ever times that there's something that's solely for website, or there's something that's solely for print, or like how often do they both cross over, or is it like a case by case kind of basis?
Yeah, so we do quite a lot online. So we're talking both for both Tees business and Weir business really. So really, it's like the daily news that we do is obviously mainly from press releases that are sent into us from agencies and businesses, um, and some of that will go into the magazine. So we have news pages within the magazine as well, and
Right. Yeah.
some of the news that we've carried on the website will be included in within the news pages of the magazine, but not all of it,
Right.
because
Yeah.
obviously we carry quite a lot of news. That's why we have like this. We have like the weekly newsletter now that we send out.
All right.
Um,
Yeah.
you can subscribe to that via the website. There's a section on the website there you can subscribe to that. It goes out every Thursday morning.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we usually have about 10 or 11 articles in that, and it goes to over 1,600 business subscribers, which is pretty cool. Um, so yeah, but it just sort of like helps to increase our reach, really. So, and obviously it helps us support our supporters, our sponsors, and it gets their content out there as well as it being in print.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. And it's good that you've kind of, you've organized it in such a way that it's kind of, you've got everything kind of separated, but still it's gonna like get to the like, it's gonna hit the audience right, which I think is pretty cool. And I
Yeah,
just want to, yeah, I just want to remind everyone in the chat there as well, guys. I've got it up there. If you want to kind of check out the if you want to get that e-news, just go to weird.business. You click on e-news and then you can subscribe and you can get the newsletter. Is that right, Martin?
yeah, yeah. We don't send any. We don't send many sort of promos emails. It's mainly content. It's mainly news, which I'm sure that a lot of your followers will find interesting.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know,
definitely.
with the what's happening locally with local businesses. Um, just going back slightly though,
Sure.
on the sort of concept. I remember when we were launching Tea's business, some people said, "What, you're launching a print publication in this day and age? You know, isn't everything going online now?" And we said, "Yeah, you, we see your point, but we think we think a lot of people still love to flick, thumb through a magazine.
Definitely.
So while newspapers are struggling, and that's for different reasons, but
Hmm.
quality publishing, because the print quality of our magazines, print on really good stock paper,
Yes.
um, and it's a matte laminated cover, so it's really good quality, prestigious printing, really.
Yeah.
Um, so people still enjoy that. So what we do though is that we are online as well, obviously. So and that's so we can kind of like have the best of both worlds. So we've got the printed product, but
Definitely.
we're also strong online because obviously there are some people who don't read magazines. They'll read all of the content online. So
Yeah.
we do that to sort of both.
It's good, yeah, because I think that you're going to get both. You're going to get people who kind of solely look at stuff online versus people who solely look at print stuff. And I think as well, you raised a really good point there, in regards to people saying that maybe print media is not as popular as it was. I think that interesting that you said that, because yeah, I think that is probably more related to content, instead of being related to the medium itself not being as popular, because it's as you said, if the content's good, then people still like to read. I mean, it's similar, it's different, but it's like, it's a thing like reading a physical book, like that's never going to go old. There's ebooks, there's audiobooks, but people are always going to want to read a book, and it's the same with print media. I mean, that's
I think
obviously
so.
an opinion, but yeah.
Yeah, as long as the key is content, like content is king. That's another one of our
Definitely.
slogans because you've got to
Sorry, man.
you've got to you've got to engage people. So the content has got to be. That's why even when we have companies that have sponsored articles that do, like, I call them advertorials, we try to write them in a way. We've a team of journalists that write the features, and we try to write them in an engaging way so they actually come across, they actually read as an editorial. Because if you make them too salesy, if you make them too promotional,
Yeah,
it switches the readers off.
yeah, I got
So,
it. Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, so most of the features that we do are like interview style, um, and it works, and it clearly works for our clients because especially the Tees business, because the magazine's grown pretty much
Yeah,
issue on issue. I think the one and only time we dropped the number of pages was with the summer issue, the issue that was just published for T's Business, and I think we dropped the 96 pages. I think we dropped 16 pages altogether.
Right.
I think it was 16, maybe 20, and we were quite happy with that because while we're not happy about taking a step back in the circumstances, with COVID and a lot of businesses are sort of pulling back from marketing and certainly spending money. And during uncertain times, it was something like, I think we got like 85%
That's still
of
yeah.
our sales, so we were quite happy with that.
That's great. I mean, and kind of with everything that's going on, it could be that's to be expected, right? I think 85% still a pretty good number, to be fair. So
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty good.
definitely.
We were definitely happy with that. But then we've also increased our digital sales for T's Business. So
That's
we've
yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's
online sponsored content, um, a bit of advertising, a bit of like advertising in our e-news. We've got sponsors for our web chats, so we've had businesses that have sponsored our web chats, and we've actually had a sponsor for our We Business web chats as well.
brilliant.
FW Capital sponsored the last 4 of those,
Wow.
and there are sponsorship opportunities available, obviously, for the future. But so while we've lost a little bit in the print, we've gained on the digital side. So
Fantastic.
so in the circumstances, can't really complain.
Yeah, exactly, and that is it, and I think that's that's been the most like, excuse the pun, like savvy way of doing things, is to kind of look at it logically, in the sense that, okay, we're not able to provide certain stuff, more people are at home, more people are using computers, so let's obviously engage as much with the digital aspect of things, and it makes sense, and then
Yeah,
it's great
yeah.
that
Well, just sorry, I was going to say just on that we so with the last issue of T's Business, we actually printed fewer copies. In fact, the last 2 issues of T's Business, we printed fewer copies. And what we've done is we've invested in social media ads.
right.
So T's Business averaged about 2,000 online views per issue. Um, the last issue, sorry, the issue before last, I think it had 7,000 online views, and that was
Right.
off the result of promoting it mainly on Facebook with Facebook ads.
Yeah.
We spent quite a lot of money on Facebook ads. Pretty much the money that we saved in print we spent on ads, and it's worked. And
Sure.
our current issue is up to 8,000 views.
Wow. There you
Um,
go.
the visitors to our website so we're also sponsoring the other Facebook posts as well, which promoting the website articles. So our traffic to the T's Business has gone through the roof. I think we're getting over 20,000 unique visitors a month.
That's cracking. Yeah,
Um,
it's a big number.
40 to 50,000 page views. Our Facebook page is, I think it's something like 400 or 500% in terms of reach and engagement, something like
Brilliant.
25 to 30,000 engagements a month.
It's cracking, man.
So it's arguably, without COVID, we might not have focused as much online. We probably wouldn't have. But going forward, we'll continue to do that, as well as printing the magazine.
For sure,
So
yeah.
and we might not, like I say, probably wouldn't have done that without COVID. So there's definite positives that we've taken from it.
100%, yeah, and it's kind of just looking out for those positives, and where to find them. And I'm just looking here. I think it's in the first episode of first episode, sorry. So media switch, like first issue of We Your Business, and it is the Media Savvy ad that we've got in there. I think it's on page 11, and there you go, guys. If you want to have a little look at that, that's our very own Media Savvy ad in our We Your Business there, and it says looking to increase your business CSR, and then
It's only eye catching.
there you go. Yeah, and I think it was, I want to be one of our designers, Ella or Lisa, I'd imagine, who designed that, and it's pretty cool. It's quite nice. Yeah, it's very eye catching, and Ella and Lisa are both great at doing design, and so they yeah, looks fantastic. I needed to ask as well, Martin, mate. Mel mentioned as well. She said, "Does Martin still have a love of wheelie bins?" So
I knew that was coming.
so I needed to ask that bud as well.
really like them.
Classic.
That's another little private joke.
Right, yeah. It's fair enough, mate. Um, Okie dokie, and let's see, man. Yeah, so yeah, that was something I wanted to ask you. I guess we kind of just covered that there, and it was just that how has lockdown affected you guys? I think we just covered that a bit there, and it's generally speaking, I guess it's just that negative in some areas, not being able to distribute stuff, but then also positive in some areas with the digital aspect going up, and I think that the tech awards in particular that you mentioned that seems pretty exciting. Um,
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that that's really sort of been affected by COVID. The events industry is just, I mean, it's just in pieces at the moment, isn't it? And it's not the same. But I think, you know what, I think a lot of people are everybody realizes that, it's just isn't physically possible for us to have events. So I think people are embracing the virtual events. Um, and hopefully sometime soon, we'll be able to get back to, the three course dinners, getting around the table and having a good time.
for sure.
Um, who knows when that'll be? Can't see it this year
Yeah,
personally, but
it's a good point, mate. I know. Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, like I said earlier, I think we're not really we can't really complain too much. I think it's been pretty worked really hard. We've been working mainly from home, but we've been back in. I'm working from home today, but we've predominantly been back at our offices for about 2 or 3 weeks. So we've got a fairly small team. There's me and my business partner, and then we have two employees because we mainly use a pool of freelancers. So we've got a pool of about 4 or 5 journalists,
cracking.
3 or 4 photographers that we use, and a freelance designer who designs our magazines. So we've got so yeah, we use a lot of freelancers. So and it works. That works quite well. So yeah, it's can't
Yeah,
complain in the circumstances. Can't complain.
for sure. Yeah, and that's a pretty good team. So if people wanted to kind of see is the kind of tech awards, is that streamed to the public? Is that for everybody, or is that just for people who are involved with it? Or
Yeah, yeah. So we'll be promoting that a lot on our social media channels, so Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Um, so it was inevitable that we were going to have to take it virtual, and we've actually got, if you go on our T's business channels, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, we've actually got a little bit of a teaser on there
brilliant.
uh, with some of the shortlisted candidates. So that's going to be. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be. It's going to be. It's all new to us, isn't it? Everything's new to us, so it's going to be. It's exciting. So we'll be promoting that link on YouTube in the next couple of weeks, and
It,
then yeah, 7 o'clock, 20th of August. Tune in.
brilliant. Yeah. So we'll make sure to kind of keep a reminder for that one. And so yeah, if people want to find your social media, guys, it's just I'm guessing it's kind of the same. It's just We Are Business on Facebook or T's Business, and it's just those
Yeah,
ones.
yeah. We're
Brilliant.
actually with We Business. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn. So just search We Business. You'll be able
Yeah.
to find us.
Cracking,
Yeah.
cracking. And so when are the weekly chats then? Obviously, you mentioned about your weekly chats I think is that on Zoom, and one of those ones.
Yeah, we don't actually do them live, so we record them. They go out usually on Wednesday, around about lunchtime on a Wednesday. So that's on our Facebook page. We promote a link on our LinkedIn page as well to view it. But so yeah, that goes out on a Facebook page around about
Perfect.
lunchtime usually. We normally record it on like 10 or 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, and then we sort of put it out pretty much straight away.
Fun.
Well, we've had a variety of guests on there, really, from various different sectors. A couple of interesting ones. We've had like a couple of hotel managers. So we had the guys from Ramside and Lumley Castle.
Cool.
Really interesting story about how they've been affected by COVID.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of restaurants on there, so we're talking about how they've been affected. So we've tried to cover like quite a lot of sort of variety of sort of issues.
Yeah. I mean, that seems really interesting for sure. Yeah, so guys, if you guys want to check that out, you've got the social medias there. It's just We Your Business or T's Business, and you find them on Facebook or Twitter. And we are getting close to the end of our time now. So, guys, I just kind of want to remind you guys to do the survey that I'm going to post a link there in the chat. Yeah, just make sure you get that survey done, guys. That'd be a big help. And you know the drill by now, guys. It takes about a minute to get it done. And if you could just do that for us, guys, that'd be perfect. Obviously, we are going to go very shortly, guys. But if you guys have any questions for Martin just before we go, please get them in. Get them in now. Otherwise, do you have anything that you'd like to add at all, Martin, mate, or are you kind of happy with that?
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much covered everything. Obviously, we're looking forward to the second issue of We Your Business being out in hopefully about 2 weeks. Got some great content lined up for it. Apart from the feature with Dan McAvery, of course. But no, that's good. We've got some nice photos of Dan, and Graham Anderson's done a great feature with him. So,
Brilliant.
But yeah, and we're grateful to that. I mean, Dan supports the magazine as well. He's advertising with us in this issue as well, Savvy Media. So, thanks, Dan.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely I'm going to check that out. I'm excited to read that, so that should definitely be a good issue there, guys. And if no one's got any questions, then I think that me and Martin will take our leave. So one last question there, just from Lynn. She says, "Do you know Colin Matham? If you do, please let me know." I'm not sure if
Sorry,
Colin Matham or Matham. It's Mafham. She said. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, no, sorry,
Okay,
I don't know.
No problem at all, mate. But yeah, thank you so much, Martin. You've been an absolutely great guest. I think this was a really good episode. Yeah, it's really cool, and it's cool to see kind of the different avenues that you have. And I think that we businesses, it's a fantastic thing for the community as well. So I think that it's cool. Yeah, awesome. It's been great having you on. Yeah, thank you for stopping by again today, guys. I'm going to put the advice screens up now, and yeah, me and you can have a little look at those, and me and Martin are going to go. So thanks for dropping by once again, guys, and I'll see you again on Monday. Have a good week.
Thanks for having us.
Much appreciated,
Cheers.
mate.
Thank you.
Okie dokie.